Algebra 1, Final Exam Guided Review 2, numbers 10 and 11. So here we get into our rational equation stuff. So we have x's in denominators. The number 10 is find the difference. Find the difference. What are we finding the difference of? 6 over 5x minus 3 minus x over 3x squared. Okay, I cannot add these as is because my denominators are not the same. So what is the smallest denominator that I can work with? And so I see my numbers are a 5 and 3. What's the smallest thing the 5 and 3 both divide into? 15. So I'm going to want a 15. So my LCD, my least common denominator, is going to be a 15. And what's the smallest thing the x and x squared go into? X squared. Okay? So then my first term, my 6 over 5x, what do I have to multiply 5x by to get the bottom to be a 15x squared? 3 and an x. So 3x. So I need to multiply this by 3x over 3x. And then I have my minus 3 minus x over 3x squared. What do I need to multiply this one by to get my denominator to be a 15x squared? I just need to multiply by 5. So multiply by 5 over 5. All right, let's multiply this out and see what we get. My numerator here, 6 times 3x, that's 18x over 15x squared. Minus, so I need to distribute this 5. So 3 times 5 is 15 minus x times 5, so that's 5x over 15x squared. Now we can combine this into one fraction, but be very careful with the subtraction. 5x squared. So I'm doing an 18x minus parentheses 15 minus 5x because we're subtracting that whole numerator. So that will give us 8 in my numerator, 18x, and I have this minus, well, let's go ahead and write minus 15, and then minus the negative gives us plus 5x. Distribute that negative over 15x squared. Sorry, I just noticed my previous term, x to the 5th. That is an x squared. And what does this simplify to be? So 18 plus 5, that's 23. So I have 23x minus 15 over 15x squared. And that's it. You cannot cancel x over, you cannot do any simplifying with this x and x squared because this does not have an x in it. If this had like an x squared, let's just say if this had an x squared, you could factor an x out of each of these opening terms. You can say, well, that's the same thing as x times 23. Sorry, it's supposed to be 23. 23 minus 15x over 15 was x squared, but x times x, in which case then that x would cancel with one of those. If you have that, so you can do simplifying like that, but only if you can factor whatever you're trying to cancel, only if you can factor it out of the whole numerator or factor it out of the whole denominator. In this case, yeah, we have a 15 and a 15, but there's no 15 that is a factor here that we could factor out. Yeah, we have an x and an x, but there's no x here that we could factor out. So this is as far as we can go. There's no more simplifying that we can do there. That was number what? Number 10. And finally, number 11. Number 11, we have solve. Let's see what we get. 4 over x plus 5x over x plus 1 equals 5. All right, so I cannot rewrite this as fraction equals fraction to do cross multiplying. So I just need to multiply everything by the least common denominator. And my least common denominator is just x times x plus 1. So this is going to give us x times x plus 1 times 4 over x plus that same thing, x times x plus 1 times 5x over x plus 1 equals x times x plus 1 times 5. All right, let's see what happens. What can cancel? My x here cancels with x. So that leaves this first chunk as 4x plus 4, because x plus 1 times x times 4 is 4x, plus 1 times 4, so plus 4. And then how about next? My x plus 1 over x plus 1 cancels. So that leaves me with plus 5x squared, because x times 5x is 5x squared, equals, and what do I get here? X times x is x squared times 5, so that's 5x squared. And then x times 1 is x times 5, so plus 5x. We can subtract 5x squared from both sides. Minus 5x squared minus 5x squared. Sweet, my x squared terms go away. That's going to make it a lot easier to solve. So that leaves me with 4x plus 4 equals 5x. Okay. We can subtract 5x from both sides. Oh, that was a... so that will give me negative x plus 4 equals 0. So I can subtract 4 from both sides. That gives me negative x equals negative 4. Multiply both sides by negative 1. That gives me x equals a positive 4. And we need to check for extraneous solutions. In other words, we need to make sure that a 4 being plugged in for x will not give a 0 denominator of 0. 4 plugged in for x will not give me a denominator of 0 there, and 4 plugged in for x will not give me a denominator for 0 there. Let's see what this ends up becoming. Just curious for checking 4 over x. So this would be like a check. It's one of the things that's so nice about algebra. You can always check your answers to see if you did it correctly. So this would give us 4 over 4 plus 5 times 4 over 4 plus 1. Does that equal 5? And let's see, well, 4 over 4 is 1, plus that's 20 over 5. Does that equal 5? And 20 over 5 is 4. So 1 plus 4, yep, that does equal 5. Nice, I got the right answer. That's not a square root, that's a check, as in check. This checks out. Good. Okay, that is the end of this review. Hope the studying and practicing goes well.